Now, I don't know how many of you saw this series that I posted on TikTok, but you're about to experience a long form version of Coffee and a Crash Out. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Slasher Talk podcast. I hope you're all doing so fucking well. If you are watching the YouTube video, you're probably like, who the fuck is this guy? He's not in his uniform. And that's been a thing for like the last couple of weeks. When I was doing my IG um anonymous questions thing that I do once in a while, it really helps on like engagement, I think, but then it's just also cool to see how unhinged people are when they can ask anonymous questions. Anyway, this person was like, "Hey, why do you always wear the same costume?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And then I was like, "Oh, okay. My black hat, my black hoodie, hilarious." And so now it's like a thing when we were at South by Southwest, Sid and Gigi and Chuck were always like giving me shit for like, "Oh, you're not wearing your costume." And then I just posted my Ready or Not 2. I got a PR box for Ready or Not 2, which is what this is. And I posted the box, and then like, dude, I got this like here, let me stand up. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see this, but like you see this like LaBelle shirt is super cool. The Ready or Not 2 logo is hand painted on this jacket. You've got this like, I don't know if you could be able to see this whatsoever, but like the back is Ready or Not 2 painted. It's incredible. So, so, so fucking cool. But I posted a photo of me wearing it with the LaBelle ring. They gave me a ring for LaBelle, which low key, I'm gonna probably just start wearing this. I wish it like fit on my pinky, to be honest, because I've been told men that wear pinky rings are attractive. So I need something. I need something to work in my benefit. So, uh, okay, and now I'm sad. But no, I wish it I wish it fit on my pinky, but it doesn't, so I'm gonna wear it on my ring finger on my right hand, not the wedding band hand. Anyway, I'm starting to spiral. Get back on track, Justin. But I posted the photos, and Helene from Deep Red Perfect Blue was like, "Oh my god, you're not wearing your costume, but this looks great." This whole costume thing is so funny, because it legitimately just comes down to me being lazy as fuck. And, if I dig my therapist is telling me to, like, start to take situations, like, dig just a little bit deeper, dig just a little bit deeper. If I dig several things down, it really is just, like, the confidence that I have in myself with how I look and my body dysmorphia, but that's not what this podcast is about. But I think it's funny that this whole, like, costume thing has started with my black hat, my black hoodie, because that's what I wear all the freaking time. So, anyway, I figured I would, like, wear the Ready or Not 2 stuff that I opened today, which gives me a great I know I've talked about it several times, but, like, Ready or Not 2 is in theaters. It's not a sequel that we necessarily needed/wanted. I didn't even know that we didn't need a sequel to Ready or Not 2, but it's so much fun. It's in theaters now. If you have not gone to the theater to see it, it's an absolute blast. If you're a big fan of the first one, I think you will enjoy the second one. A lot of people are enjoying the second one more than the first. I'm not a part of that crowd, but that kind of rolls into some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. Your opinion is your opinion. As long just go watch and like what you like, and don't let anybody tell you that your opinion is wrong, right? Because it's your it's your opinion. If you go and watch the sequel and you love it exponentially more than the first one, I love that for you. just go to the theater and support Ready or Not 2. It's an absolute blast. So yeah, I'm not in my costume. What else have I done this week? A little catch up. I watched Do Not Enter. In my short review, it's like it's from Lionsgate. I'm pretty sure Blumhouse as well. I could be wrong there, but Lionsgate for sure. It's called Do Not Enter. It's a newer horror film that just dropped. It's about these group of friends that run a YouTube channel, and they're like urban explorers, and they go to these places that don't necessarily allow people. They're not really supposed to be there, and they film the entire journey of how they got there, and they film these places, and they make videos, and they put them on YouTube, and each person within the group has their own role within the group. One's a photographer, one is like the key master. Any door, window, something like that they can't get into, she can open it. One's like the ringleader. You get the picture, right? But it started off pretty strong. Nothing overly creative or original, but they have this channel. Their views are down. How can we bring our views? How can we bring the channel to be relevant again? And they do this research, and this guy was like, I found this hotel. It's called the Paragon Hotel. It was ran by this like legendary gangster mafia guy, and all this crazy shit happened at this hotel, and supposedly he stashed his $300 million that he stashed it at the hotel, but no one's ever been able to find it. And the people that do go to the hotel to find it never come out of the hotel. That's the premise. So they end up going to the hotel to find it and record the whole thing for their YouTube channel. Nothing overly creative or groundbreaking or whatever, but the film, it started off pretty strong with the editing and how they did the channel and stuff. I was like, okay, like this might not be great, but like I'm locked in, and it just dives off of a fucking cliff, man. The dialogue, what happens, I'm like, this is just not believable. It's super rushed. The acting is hit and miss. It's called Do Not Enter, but the low-hanging fruit review is do not watch. It's do not waste your time. I paid like $7 to rent it on Prime Video. Perhaps, perchance, per maybe, if it's like free on streaming down the road, maybe give it a watch just to say that you watched it. But I would not spend $6.99 to watch it, so I watched it so you do not have to. There's a lot of do not jokes and puns going on right now. Anyway, I watched that. I watched Pretty Lethal last night, which was honestly a great time. It is not a fantastic film. Again, not groundbreaking, not trying to really do anything original or genre changing. And it is exactly the movie that you think it's going to be. Of course, it is about 5 ballerinas that are on their way to compete in this competition, and I think they're in, like, the hotel that they end up going to, I think they're Hungarian, so they're on the other side of the world. Their bus breaks down. They're trying to get to this competition. They end up at this hotel, that's ran by, uh, Uma Thurman's character, and you find out that she used to be a ballerina, and you find out all of the lore there down, throughout the entire movie. But they end up the ballerinas that go there, there's some shady shit happening at this hotel, this inn, and they have to find their way out. They have to fight their way out to survive. And it's exactly what you think it is. They are in what honestly should be a very impossible situation for these girls to escape, because there are so many henchmen or goons or whatever that are in this hotel, and there's only 5 of them, and they should not be able to make it out of this situation. but you know it's a movie, and it leans into that, and it leans into them being ballerinas, so, like, they're fighting back with, like, ballerina dance moves and stuff, and they have dance moves that fucking kill, and I think I love where the little instances where, like, they use the kicks and their little, like, twirls to get out of things and stuff like that, but it's a bit corny for sure, but it was the exact movie that I needed to watch last night. I sat in my bed, I I hit play, and I just had a great fucking time. It's not a 5 out of 5 movie by any stretch of the imagination, uh, but I had so much fun with it. If that's kinda it's I wouldn't necessarily say it's a horror movie, but it's fairly violent. Nothing crazy, but, like, there's some great there's some great kills. It's a little bit rushed here and there or whatever, but just for a basic, like, sit down for the night, have some snacks, have some popcorn, and just have an entertaining time watching a movie, I think it's worth a watch. Plus, it's if you have Prime Video, which a lot of people do, it's free. You don't have to pay shit. So definitely recommend giving that a watch. And that's really all I've seen. I went and saw Project Hail Mary, but that's not anywhere close to be a horror film. It was fantastic though. So, coming off of South by Southwest, I'm still watching movies, not 18 in a week like I did in South by, but still getting some movies watched, which is cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the catch up. I'm gonna be out of town next week for my best friend's last show for his band, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I come back from that, and I roll right into Overlook Film Festival, which we got the full lineup there. I'll be talking about that probably next week, but a lot of it is very overlappy with South by Southwest. So I need to go. We get reservations for Overlook, I think tomorrow. I need to go look at that. But there's plenty of things that I haven't seen, but what's nice is everybody is probably gonna go for, like, the higher end movies, and I will probably have no problem getting the movies that I haven't seen, so that's cool. There's plenty that I need to watch, for sure, so that will be cool. This episode, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I woke up this morning having no idea what I want to talk about on this week's episode. Doing podcast episodes every week when you're not talking about a specific movie, uh, I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to talk about? And then I started reading some comments this morning, and there's been this lurking feeling and opinions that I've had over like the last week and a half to 2 weeks, and I think I'm just gonna let it all out on this episode and do a long version of Coffee and a Crash Out, this series that I did on TikTok for a little bit. It never really went anywhere, but some people keep bringing it up, so I kind of want to bring it back in some way, shape, or form. There's these like detailed little things that TikTok changes in order, to hit like monetization and stuff. So they will not like me doing it in my car, which I liked. So I need to find another way to do it. But anyway, I have a lot of things to crash out about. So everybody grab your coffee here, and come with me on Coffee and a Crash Out. So, little little sip of the coffee. A lot of these things are gonna blend. So if I go off on some fucking tangent, because when I start talking about this, I'm gonna start ranting and I might jump from topic to topic. So this is not gonna be organized probably whatsoever, because I'm not a podcast professional. And I woke up this morning, had no idea what I'm gonna talk about. I sat down, I hit record, and we're just gonna fucking wing it. But I had a couple of comments coming within literally the last 24 hours. And this has never been a problem before. And I don't know if people just need something to fucking complain about or what. But I got 2 comments, if not 3, 2 for sure. One on Facebook, one on Instagram. I posted a video for Let Us Pray. Underrated, brutal horror movie from like 2014, 2016, something like that. It's this like Irish film about this guy that, this mysterious guy that shows up and he gets put in jail. And he's saying that everybody at midnight is going to pay for their sins. And it just unravels from there. And I described it as a slow burn film. And I got people yelling at me, being like, can we please fucking stop using the term slow burn? It's lazy. Uh, it's just a fancy way for creators or critics to say that quote unquote nothing happens in the movie until the last 10 minutes. And I got another comment saying that we need to remove slow burn from our vocabulary. It's it's a stupid term. What? Everybody uses the term slow burn. And in this world of short form content, in the world where nobody has an attention span past 3 fucking seconds, mind you, you have to find ways to quickly tell somebody what a vibe of the movie is. And to me, slow burn, 2 words, tells you exactly what it is. And it tells you exactly if you like that kind of movie or not. That's what this movie is. You're gonna skip my video if I say, "Let Us Pray" requires your patience. It builds character development, and it sets all these things up in the first 45 minutes for then the movie to flip it on its head and bring, have a twist or whatever it is. Then I'm gonna be told that I ruined that there's a twist. You're not gonna sit there and watch this 20-second explanation about me explaining how not a jump scare every 30 seconds, or it's not a very, like, action-packed movie or whatever. Slow burn is a great term, in my opinion. Am I wrong? I think it's just crazy that within 24 hours, which is the only reason why I'm bringing this up, is I got multiple comments in 24 hours from 2 different people. I must be late. I didn't know that slow burn was such a bad term. News to me. So that's like, what else? Let's do some creative thinking together. What else are you supposed to say other than it requires your patience? It's not act like it's just to me. It's just I hear slow burn. I go, okay, cool. I know exactly the vibe of the film. So I think it's a great description, a great quick description of a film. I don't know if anybody else feels differently, um, but that's kind of a unique niche thing that kind of upset me this morning. I'm kinda like, "Don't fucking yell at me for using the term slow burn. A, I'll say whatever the fuck I want. B, I think it's a great term." Anyway, that's such a small thing to be upset about. The major thing that I wanna crash out about is, and this is where it's gonna, like, blend. With the release of Undertone, this is the latest example of what I consider to be just, like, a very hyperbolic, I don't wanna say toxic, although I think that some individuals are taking it to a very toxic place, but this overly hyperbolic hatred and distaste for movies that have a lot of hype. And Undertone is the latest example of that. I saw Undertone at the end of near the end of last year through, I believe it was Fantasia Film Festival, and I loved it. Now, that was before there was any sort of hype, whatever, and I know the privilege that comes with that 100%. And I knew when I first reviewed it and I kept, saying, like, "This is gonna be a do not miss horror movie of the year. It's more audio based." It is, one of the only films, like, one of very few films within the past 10 years that has genuinely made me feel anxiety, nervous, like, this pit in my stomach, dread, scared. Like, it affected me personally. I knew when I said that, that not everybody, not Jesus, not everybody is going to have the same experience that I did watching it. That's impossible. I wish that everybody had the same experience that I did watching it because it was such a great experience as a horror movie fan that continuously chases that feeling of being scared and genuinely anxious while watching something. I knew it was gonna get hate 100%, but the hyperbolic nature of the hate that Undertone is getting to me is absolutely fucking insane. I have seen people be like, "This is the worst horror movie I've ever seen." That might be fair. Whatever. This is the worst horror movie ever made. This is A24's worst movie in their filmography. What? Okay. I don't want to say that your opinion is wrong because if that's your opinion and you're entitled to it. I'm not going to be the one that sits down and tries to convince you that this is a movie that you should like. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Explain the reasons why you don't like it. But to say that it is the worst horror movie ever made, to say that it's the worst horror movie you've ever seen, I'm gonna try not to be there are not levels of horror fans, right? I don't want to be the horror fan or the content creator or the person that gives off the vibe that I'm better than you. I'm gatekeeping this genre. I watch more horror movies than you, so therefore it makes me a better horror fan. I don't want to be that. But in my opinion, when you say things like Undertone is the worst horror movie ever made, Undertone is the worst horror movie I've ever seen, I urge you to watch more horror. Excuse me, when things like The Mousetrap exists, when things like Murderita exists, hell, like, like, higher higher budget films, because then you're gonna say, "Well, that's independent," people say that's independent slop, which I do not agree with in the slightest. Like, I think we should champion independent film. Yeah, no, not every independent film is a fucking banger. It's an independent low budget film for a reason, and it's not gonna be everybody's vibe. But that's what I'm saying is, like, when these films, when these low budget independent horror films that just get slapped on Tubi or whatever, when those exist and they are within the genre, to say that Undertone and movies like Undertone, because I can take this back to the same thing was said about Long Legs, the same thing gets said about It Follows, the same thing gets said about Hereditary. Hereditary is the worst horror movie ever made. Way overhyped. You can say it's overhyped, but to say Hereditary is the worst horror movie ever made, Longlegs is the worst horror movie ever made, It Follows, I'm not even a big It Follows fan. But I'm not gonna sit there and say that because I didn't necessarily love It Follows like everybody else seems to, that it's the worst horror movie ever made, just because it didn't live up to the absolutely insane fucking hype that I went into It Follows with, because I saw It Follows late. It didn't necessarily pull me in to be a movie that I wanted to go watch in theaters, so I watched it at home. Which might be my problem with the film, but I've seen it so many times since trying to love this movie. I wanna like it so bad. I like it, but I wanna love it so bad. I wanna see It Follows like everybody else sees It Follows. I just can't. But I'm not gonna sit here on my podcast or my channel and say, because I didn't love It Follows the way that everybody else loves it, that it is the worst horror movie I've ever seen or the worst horror movie ever made. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, brother. If you had $500,000 like Undertone did, I can almost guarantee you that everybody that's getting on their channel or in the comment sections and saying this is the worst, you could not make the Undertone half as good. I'm sorry. There's no fucking way. I guess I don't wanna say that there's no fucking way, because everything's possible. But I think, like, the majority of these people that are just being so hyperbolic about this, and I think it's because of the marketing, 100%. Longlegs was right there. Uh, Neon chose to take that quote and run with that quote that this is the scariest movie of the year, and people really just hold on to that. And when it doesn't live up to scariest horror movie of the year, and this is gonna roll right into another thing that I wanted to talk about, but let me cook. When people when they walk out of the theater and say, "Oh, well, it didn't live up to that hype, therefore it sucks, and therefore it's just like the worst horror movie," just like, it's marketing. The marketing's job is to get you in the seat, for sure, 100%, and I do think a lot of movies, do themselves a disservice, and they market in a way that really doesn't do the movie any favors. You're walking in expecting a movie that it's just not what the movie is. We talked about We Bury the Dead from this year. The trailer for that movie, in my opinion, which I liked that movie, but I saw it before the marketing even began. I think that if I saw the trailer first and then I went to go see We Bury the Dead, I would have been disappointed as well, because the trailer markets and shows that movie that it is going to be a pretty crazy, intense, zombie-filled experience, and it's just simply not. That's not what the movie is. But the other side is if they show you it's more of a slow burn zombie movie, people probably wouldn't have bought tickets. So there's like a double edge here. They're doing their fucking job. They got people in seats, but then it really does the film a disservice. So it's it's a back and forth sort of thing. Who's right, who's wrong? I don't know. I don't get paid for that shit. But Longlegs got drug as worst horror movie of the year, worst horror movie ever made, worst horror movie that I've ever seen. And it's debatable. I urge you to watch more horror, because it's just not true. You're just being hyperbolic, which hyperbole sells. And hyperbole sells on the other end as well. As a content creator that is trying to get your attention in the first 3 to 5 seconds of my video every day, it is, and I try so hard not to be hyperbolic all the time. but sometimes I only use the this film scared the fucking shit out of me, or this is the scariest movie I've seen this year, or this is the bloodiest. When I use that, it's true. It's true in the moment from when I made the video. I might say, this is the scariest movie I've seen this year. And then because I watch a ton of horror, I will watch a movie fucking 5 days later and go, oh, no, actually, this one's the scariest movie that I've seen this year. And people say, well, you always say every single movie is fucking the scariest movie you ever seen. That's not true, but I get to a degree of what people are saying. Of like, when you say those hyperbolic things, people like latch onto it and then they go into a movie with certain expectations. So, Undertone, the scariest movie you'll ever hear, the scariest movie you'll hear this year, whatever it was. Again, it's a hyperbolic review that was used on posters, the trailer, and the marketing. Why wouldn't you use that? But then people are coming out, nothing happens. It's boring. It's all audio. The ending didn't pay itself off. The ending didn't pay off is a fair critique. You can say this movie didn't land for me. I didn't like this movie. I hated Undertone. Oh, I guess I might be in the minority. Everybody else is seeming to love this movie. Here's the problems that I had with this movie, which ends up I didn't necessarily like it, and then critique it. But to come out and say, this is the worst horror, brother, I just don't believe you. And when I constantly see, again, not going to name names, but when I see, I don't even follow these people, but they come up on my TikTok FYP. They've come up on my FYP several times this year. And it's just, this movie's complete and utter dog shit. It is the worst thing I've ever seen. This should have not even been made. Blah, blah. It's like, dude, please, I urge you, hop on to Tubi, scroll, and randomly just land on one and watch that shit, and I guarantee you it's not near as good as Undertone, Longlegs, It Follows, Hereditary, whatever major movie that's actually doing well at the box office or is going viral or is having a moment of popularity or whatever. I can guarantee you that movie is not as good as any of those. I would put money down on that shit. From a cinematography, editing, acting, all that kind of shit, dude. Like, it genuinely is not any of those movies that I just listed. Hereditary, Longlegs, It Follows, and those are just the four that come up all the fucking time. All the time. Worst horror movie ever made. Nope. You're wrong. You can have that opinion, but it's hyperbolic and it's just not fucking true. If that's your opinion, fine. Whatever. Die on that fucking hill. But I'm sorry, it's wrong. That rolls into the movie's not scary, so it's not good. Not scary equals not good. You can say that same thing about all the movies that I just listed. I see that critique of those movies all the time. And again, it goes into the marketing of the movie. Long leg, scariest movie of the year. Okay, cool. People came out of it not scary, therefore, it's not good. What? Let's be so fucking for real. Let's be so fucking for real. Most horror fans have been watching horror movies probably since a very young age, an age that they probably should not have been watching horror films. Like I said in my original episode of this podcast, I watched Halloween when I was in second grade. And honestly, a lot of horror fans, not all, I don't want to, I'm not saying this about every horror movie thing, because everybody is more than welcome to be a fan of the genre, no matter what age you came in. There is room for everybody. I'm just stoked that you are a horror movie fan. But in my experience, a lot of people that live, breathe, and just eat this genre up have been watching horror movies since they were a fucking child. And let's be so fucking for real. When was the last time a movie genuinely scared you? You're a full-grown adult. I'm gonna be 37 years old. You see this face? That looks maybe 19? I know eventually I'm going to enjoy looking a lot younger than I actually am, but whatever. That was random as hell. I'm gonna be 37 years old, and I try my hardest, especially when I would, like, eat some candy. You know what I'm talking about? It really helped me kinda, like, really just throw myself into these movies and feel all the fear and anxiety. Like, I love that shit. I want to feel that way. And I think everybody wants to feel that way. But let's be so real. How many horror movies since you were a child, since you first started to watch horror, has genuinely scared you? So you mean to tell me I'm 37. Even if I said every movie that I've seen since I was 17, that's 20 years. You mean to tell me because a movie did not scare me that it's not good? So I've got 20 plus years of watching horror and every single one of those movies is not good? It's just not fucking true. It's not. It's not. And honestly, I feel bad for you if you are a fan that approaches horror movies in that way. If it's not scary, it's not good. That has to be fucking miserable. It just does. It has to be miserable. And I feel bad for you if you are that way. But also, you're coming into my comment sections and other people's comment sections, and you're these typically, not all the time, but typically it's these fucking alpha males. I ain't scared of nothing, brother. I haven't been scared. I've never seen a horror movie that fucking scares me. That's cool, Chad. Cool. Chad, I'm so happy for you. That's cool. Dude, go fuck yourself. Seriously, if that's how you are the type of person that walks into a haunted house, "This ain't gonna fucking scare me. I'm gonna lie." Why even go? Why even go? And so if you are going into a haunted house being like, "I ain't gonna be scared," don't waste your time, don't waste your money, don't even go. Don't ruin that shit for everybody else. If you are going into a horror movie, "I ain't gonna be scared. Well, let's see if this will scare me." Nothing scared me. I've been watching horror movies since I was 2 years old. Ain't nothing scared me, even when I was 2. Hell yeah. Cool. Good for you. Debatable. But also, why even watch it? Why? Why waste your time? Isn't your time better spent doing something else? Like, if that's genuine, I feel like you are trying. You're actively working against throwing yourself into the story, the environment of the of the film. If you're not going to allow yourself to leave this world, leave your problems, leave your stresses, and enter that world and allow yourself to feel some anxiety, some fear, some dread, and allow yourself that way, if you were working actively against that shit, just to come out of what this movie that everybody, not everybody, but people in general are saying, this is a scary movie. This movie scared me. It's the scariest movie that I've seen this year. And you just want to be that fucking douchebag that comes out and goes, "Oh, didn't scare me. Didn't scare me." Cool. Then stop watching horror. That's that's how I genuinely feel about that shit. If if you're the person that's coming into different comment sections and you are typing that, I have never been scared of a horror movie. After 30 years, I'm still trying to find one that's that scary. I must just be built different. I must be alpha. And it's not just men. It's gender. It's higher percentage men, but not always. I've got some women that come into my chat and, comment sections and things and say the same shit, and it's like, I direct that same thing to you. Maybe you genuinely do want to be scared by something, but it's my belief that part of that is kind of like letting go and allowing yourself to feel those types of things. And it's in my opinion that you are actively trying to not feel those things while watching it. And the best example that I can give are the people that go through haunted houses, that laugh at everything or try to poke jokes or whatever, then don't even fucking go. Like, it's just, if you're not going to go to a concert or go to an amusement park, or if you're gonna go into any sort of situation and actively work against it to come out of that out the other end and say, "Well, I didn't like that, it didn't scare me," whatever the case is, then don't even fucking waste your time. Don't watch it. Not scary equals not good for horror. I will just genuinely never understand. And like the debate is, well, the whole point of a horror movie is to scare you. Therefore, if it doesn't scare you, it's not a good movie. It doesn't work. There are horror movies that aren't even meant to scare you. They're meant to make you feel dread. They're meant to make you feel empathy for the main character. It's meant to make you sad or think about your own life. They're not even meant to, like, scare you. I hear this all the time about Martyrs. To me, Martyrs isn't even trying to be scary. It's just trying to leave an impression. And I'm sorry, if you leave Martyrs, the original, and that movie didn't leave any sort of impression on you, it didn't affect you in any kind of way, I mean, maybe that's true, but I don't think that Martyrs, for example, 'cause I hear that one all the time. Every time I bring up Martyrs, it's not scary. I don't even think it's trying to be. It's just fucking brutal and relentless. I wouldn't say that Martyrs is even trying to be scary. That's a movie. Not scary equals not good. I think it just, you cannot like it. I don't know. I'm ranting and raving. When I get in this mode, like, I forget any sort of all the horror movies I've ever watched. And it's like I could go down the list. I would just use it the same. I would use the same list. Long Legs, It Follows, Hereditary, Undertone. Like, The not scary equals not good equals worst horror movie ever made. Those just blend, and it's just like there's just so many different aspects of how a movie is created and made and all these things that go into these movies, and to have the viewpoint. And again, I'm not trying to be like there's like different levels of horror fans, and I'm not trying to be gatekeepery or um you're not as big of a horror fan as me, or I'm a better horror fan than you, or whatever. But if you just have that viewpoint of the genre, that if it's not scary, it's not good. And if it's not good or doesn't live up to my expectations, it's the worst horror movie ever made or the worst horror movie that I've seen. I just, in my soul, I feel like you just don't like horror. I genuinely think that. Like, I think there are certain people that I just see that just constantly rag and drag every new horror movie that most everybody is excited about, and they just throw low ratings, and they just drag it, which if that's your opinion, that's your opinion. Fine. But it's just insane to me how hyperbolic specifically the horror genre is. And I don't know, are other genres like that? Because 'Cause I'm so invested and I live and breathe the horror genre that all my algorithms for like film and TV are basically horror movie based, which they should. The algorithm is working to my favor. But are other genres like that? I know fandoms can be very toxic. Star Trek, Star Wars, uh, Harry Potter is kinda going through it right now, but that's so layered. So I know fandoms, but I'm talking, like, genres. Are are people that just live and breathe comedy? Is that the same thing? "Oh, it didn't make me laugh, therefore it's the worst, comedy ever made." Well, comedy works the same thing as horror. It's subjective. People find things, the things that you didn't find funny, somebody else is gonna find it to be the funniest fucking thing on the earth they've ever heard, and they're gonna piss themselves because they're laughing so hard. Are action films the same way? Are, like, romantic comedies the same? I don't know. If anybody is in any sort of, like, different genre hopping, are are fandoms of different genres the same way? Because I feel like there are so many horror fans there are so many fans of the horror genre that I think just genuinely do not like the genre. And to me, that's when you kinda get into, like, it becomes, like, very toxic because everybody has an opinion. My entire page is solely my opinion. I'm not an actual critic. I didn't go to school for film. I'm just giving my opinion, and I know that everybody's not going to agree with my opinion. And that's what I love about having genuine conversations with people. At South by Southwest, I had conversations with people that um, they didn't end up really liking Hokum. I really enjoyed Hokum. I gave it a 4 out of 5. But there are people that just did not like it. We would sit at a table, and we talked about it over the course of the entire festival, for what, like, hours? But it was a genuine, "I respect you, you respect me, let's chat this out," and it was, like, great conversations. But I feel like online, people hide behind screens, hide behind keyboards. It's just so hyperbolic and toxic. It can be. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just kinda, like, where my brain has been the last couple weeks, and I haven't really made videos about it or whatever because, like, everybody's gonna have their own opinion, and I didn't it all stems from Undertone. Um, I didn't help create the movie. I wasn't involved or whatever, but, like, I do sometimes feel I don't wanna say responsible, um, because it was my honest, genuine thoughts of Undertone. To me, Undertone was a do not miss horror movie of the year, especially in a theater, 'cause it genuinely was the first film, in years, I would say. Oddity got under my skin, and Blackwell Ghost 3 and 4 genuinely got underneath my skin. So, 4 movies in the last 10 years or whatever that I can feel like genuinely got under my skin. But there's a pattern there. Oddity, Blackwell Ghost 3 and 4, and Undertone are under kind of the same umbrella. It's like supernatural shit. That kind of stuff just affects me. And for a lot of people, that stuff does not affect them in the slightest, and that's fine. But I kind of feel somewhat responsible for uh overhyping Undertone. Um I never want to be the person that like get somebody so amped up for a movie. I think that's great that because of my video, you were so amped up to go watch this, but I hate when the fact they're so amped up to watch it and then they leave the theater and they go, "Damn, that just didn't hit." Like, I feel terrible. I feel bad about it, but like, I don't lie on my page. And that's another thing too, working into this, like, this whole thing. I got it with long legs and I got it with Undertone quite a bit. Oh, you must have been paid a massive check because the way that you describe this movie is so untrue. I didn't find it scary. It's the worst horror movie made. You must have got paid a fat check. Brother, I didn't get paid shit. That's my genuine thoughts. And by now you should know that like not everybody's going to have the same thoughts. Everything is subjective. So yeah, that was a random thought. I just like feeling bad about that. But I shouldn't because it's what I genuinely thought about the film. And uh I I think authenticity and like sharing your genuine authentic thoughts on your channel is like what makes an audience follow you for you. I think you can tell when somebody is being genuine. And I'm not saying that paid sponsorships, paid good reviews and things don't happen because they 100% do. I haven't had one, and I don't know anybody within my friend group that has legitimately been paid to make a video to say something is good when they genuinely did not think it was. That's that's disingenuous and insane behavior, in my opinion. And so to wrap that all end of like, if you thought this, it's the worst horror movie ever made, but you loved it, therefore you were paid is just crazy. So there's a bit of a crash out. I'm gonna have some coffee because I just went in hard. Hold on. I definitely could not have had that coffee and a crash out on TikTok. There was no way of having that in a short form. I needed to just fucking go. I feel a lot better. Do you feel better? Is there anything within that rant? Because I kind of like blacked out there for a second. Is there anything within that you very much disagree with? Do you agree? Have you had experience with like the same, quote unquote horror fans that jump into different comments? Had you had an argument online with people? I know that a lot of people have, especially if you are a content creator that happens to be listening to this. I know you've experienced it. I know you have. But I also see people within my comment sections on Facebook specifically that are just fans of my page and they agree with a take that I have, and I'll see a whole ass argument of people just fighting about how it's this horror movie that arguably, which I know people don't necessarily take Rotten Tomatoes scores seriously, but like has arguably great Rotten Tomatoes scores, letterbox scores, all this, and every single person that thinks this movie's great is lying. They will die on that hill, and they just fight and fight and fight. Thank you for the engagement first, but secondly, brother, do you have nothing else to do? Chill the fuck out. So can you relate to any of this? Am I far off? Am I off base here? Does this just bother me? Because if it just bothers me, I need to find something else to worry about. Maybe I need to go touch grass, which I did touch grass last week, which is weird and odd. Not ordinary for my typical day to day, but I do need to touch some grass for sure. Maybe I'll go grab some lunch. It's 11:15. So I hope you guys enjoyed this long version of Coffee and a Crash Out. I need to find a way to bring this short form Coffee and a Crash Out back because there are just things that I just want to crash out about. And I love coffee. And I get some people bring this series up. So I need to find a way to bring it back and just whatever happens with it, happens with it. I love coffee and a crash out. It's a great time. It's a great way to just let it fucking rip, dude. And all the frustration and things that I deal with on a day-to-day basis, just let it fucking ride. And that way I'm not talking about calling out somebody specifically, but I can just like rant and rave about it and crash out about it in general, and maybe you relate to it. Would love to know if any of this made sense or if I'm just being a little bitch. So, with that said, thank you guys so much for checking out this week's episode. Appreciate all the love and support of the podcast. Like I say every fucking week, but I mean it. I mean that shit. You guys have so many content creators and podcasts and things that you could follow and watch and listen to their shit, but you choose to listen to mine, and I love you for that. Thank you so much. If you have not rated the podcast 5 stars yet on whatever you listen to, please give me a 5-star rating if you think it's deserved. If you think it's deserved, I don't want to pay for your love, but it just helps me kind of get into the algorithm and build this shit. I think we're kind of hitting a plateau, but we're gonna work through it, man. This podcast is so young. It's a baby podcast. We're just gonna keep doing it every week and see where this shit takes us. Maybe one of these days we're gonna manifest. We're gonna manifest this shit right now that this podcast turns into something huge, and just it's just gonna be huge. Maybe everybody will become a slasher. I have this group on Facebook, this subscription group on Facebook that people can like pay 99 cents into as like this smaller community, and that they can ask me things. We can have conversations, and they post their collectibles that they got throughout the week and DVDs that they bought, and they ask me, "Hey, have you seen this? Have you seen that?" We've started to call everybody in that group the slashers, and I low key love that shit. So I might bring that into here. So legitimately, if you don't want to sub to the group on the in Facebook, I do have a donation link for the podcast in the show notes. Maybe there's a section of the podcast that I can start shouting out the slashers. Down the road. As us slashers, we take the SlasherTalk podcast, we make this thing huge. I'm manifesting that shit. Hell yeah, brother. But I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for letting me crash out. And remember, watch something spooky this week.